Vanessa, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I like your glasses.
Oh, thanks. My eyes have been tired looking at screens all day, so.
Oh, I know. Such a legit job.
Well, it sounds like you've been
good.
Gearing up for stuff at work, right?
Yeah, so we have our biggest event. Well, I guess we could say, so for those of you guys who were watching the recording, what we did was Kim started recording, but she's still putting her daughter to sleep, and we're waiting just a minute or two to see if anyone else joins us live. And then, so Vanessa and I are just going to talk for a minute, so you guys can just fast forward if you're watching the recording, but we'll start in just a second. But yeah, so next week, well, finally, it's here, like our biggest event of the year for work. We like rent out the entire Indigo Convention Center, and we have like 3,500 of our financial advisors come in from all over the country. Wow. And we like are hosting this whole event. And so it's just been so much work, and my boss just got back from maternity leave last week, so I'm so glad she's back. And her boss, and her boss has gone on maternity leave, and someone else who does the same thing I do at the company quit a couple months ago now. So it's just been like me, and I've never done this event because I'm kind of new here. So it's just been like a lot of emotional stuff.
Yeah, but you're pulling it off, getting it done.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's like full speed ahead, it's happening, whether or not, we're ready. So it's been a lot of late nights and early mornings, but I'm excited that like it's here. And then next week, Sunday through Wednesday, or it's going to be like 15-hour days at the convention center, and I have like an hour and 15 minutes from there. So it's gonna be a lot, but that's okay. But, oh, hi, Lauren. How are you? Hi. Are you on your new computer, Lauren? Oh, it's probably still mentioned. She just got a new computer, which is exciting.
Oh.
Okay. So why don't we get started, just in the interest of time, and my goal is really to keep this to 45 minutes or less, and that includes time to ask questions. So other people might come on, and that's fine, but we'll just continue, and then people can definitely just watch the recording.
Okay. Should I just mute?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, okay. But so before we even go into like what a power hour is or what you should be doing during that time, I really wanted to talk about like our motivation to do our power hour, and then our mindset before we even go into our power hour. Because I think oftentimes it's pretty easy for us to kind of like put off our power hour, or we think that we've done our power hour for like on Monday, we're going to start our power hour and we're going to do it every day, but we do it Monday through Thursday, and then Friday comes and we feel like we don't have any more momentum in our business than when we started it. No one's commenting on our post or liking it. No one's buying anything from us. No one wants to join our group, and we get discouraged, and the weekend comes and we just figure it's Friday night. No one cares anyway. We're not going to do our power hour. Saturday comes, we get caught up in the weekend. Sunday comes, we get caught up in the weekend. And I think something that we fail to recognize is that even though we recognize this in our fitness journey, we fail to recognize it in our business journey, is the power of consistency. And it's about that compound effect. And if you haven't had the opportunity to read that book yet for your personal development, I highly recommend it. But in the same way that when we start our health and fitness journey, if we are consistent Monday through Thursday, but then we take Friday through Sunday off, we aren't going to achieve the goals or results that we want if we like take 3 days. That's almost half the week. And then when we start on Monday, we're kind of starting over in many ways. Yes, definitely. Like we have a little bit more of a foundation than if we had never started at all. But the reality is, in our power hour, which is the same in our fitness journey, is we have to be consistent. Even when it's not fun, even when we don't feel like doing it, if we've committed ourselves to this business, then we need to commit ourselves to the power hour, which is the business building activity. Another thing I wanted to mention is that I think sometimes we make excuses for our power hour, and we use things that are really good things but we use them as excuses. Like, it takes time away from my family, so I don't want to do the power hour. It takes time away from whatever the activity is. You know, but the reality is that, one, we waste so much time every day without even thinking about it. So it's so easy for me to sit down and spend 15 minutes scrolling through Instagram, right? Or scrolling through Facebook. Or I might sit down and think, I want to find a motivational quote on Pinterest or something funny on Pinterest. 15, 20 minutes later, I'm like, you know, like down and deep into some like do-it-yourself project, like building bunk beds, which I have it's not even relevant to my life, but I've just wasted that time. So sometimes I think it's perspective. When we feel like we don't have time for the power hour, I think something we need to recognize is that we waste time every day, like pockets of time that we could be using to build our business. And so we just need to pay more attention and be more intentional and mindful about time that we're wasting and use that to build our business. Another thing that I would share is that if you are someone who is in a relationship, you have a spouse or you have a roommate or you have friends, I think it's really important for you to share your Beachbody business goals with them. Share your goals and then share what you're doing to achieve those goals. So share that you're doing your power hour. Explain what that is. If you are someone who doesn't have a full hour to commit, that you have like 3 20-minute increments or 4 15-minute increments throughout your day, explain that to your family. Explain that to your spouse. Explain that to your friends or your roommate so they can respect that that time is what you're doing to build your dream, to achieve your goals. But then I'm going to tell you the key is you actually need to hold up your end of the bargain and you need to actually do your power hour. Because if you're someone who has told your spouse or your friend or your roommate or your family that I want to build this business and I need an hour a day to do it, but then you skip your power hour, you're not doing it. You're watching TV while you're doing it, so you're not really focused on it. So it takes like 3 hours when it should just take 1. Then when you do sit down to try to like be focused or whatever, people aren't really going to respect that that's your business building time because you haven't earned their respect in doing it because you've been flaky on it. You've been like not really taking it that seriously. And so people aren't thinking that you're working during that time. So you can't really be wishy-washy. Set your expectations and your goals with your family so that they can respect and be supportive. And then hold up your end of the bargain by actually committing to your power hour. Oh, hi, Priscilla. And committing to your power hour. Because I think that this is key, right? Having everyone on board and then also use them as your accountability because know that you've set the expectation that you are going to build your business during this time and that you need their support. Even if it's just 20 minutes increments, go away and be focused and get your work done. So that then when you can come back, you're going to have more time to spend with your family because you were intentional. You're going to have more time for other hobbies. You're going to have more time for like just a choir practice, other things that you love doing. You're going to have more time to do it if you are intentional about your power hour. Now, I will say that there really isn't like a magic formula for motivation, right? But I can tell you that you can't just do your power hour when you feel motivated to do it. Because that's just a feeling. Like whether you feel motivated or you don't feel motivated is just a feeling. And we can't really live our life based on what we feel like doing or don't feel like doing, right? I mean, that's something that my mom told me my whole life was just because you feel a certain way doesn't mean you get to act a certain way. So just because you don't feel like building your business today doesn't mean you get to skip out on it. In the same way that if you have health and fitness goals, just because you feel like skipping your workout doesn't mean you get to. Or if you're a parent, just because you feel like skipping like your parental duties today and you don't feel like cooking or like cleaning diapers or taking care of your sick kids, that doesn't mean you get to like opt out of it or you know, or for those of us who don't have kids, we don't get to just skip our full-time jobs just because we don't feel like going to work. The same is true for our power hour. We just need to recognize and take it as seriously as we do our other responsibilities. And there are 2 things that I've identified through different personal development calls I've listened to that you can kind of use to kind of stir up some inspiration in you when your motivation is failing you. One of them is remember your emotional connection to your why. Again, this is something that we're really good at in our health journey. You know, it pushes us through our workouts. It pushes us through sticking to our eating nutrition plan, right? we remember why we started. Autumn says this in the 21-day fix. When you feel like quitting or giving up, remember why you started. And so we're really good at applying that to our health journey. But what we need to also do is apply it to our business journey. You know, remember why you started. Remember that emotional connection of why you became a coach in the first place. Whether it was to help people, whether it was to create a life of freedom for yourself, whether it was just to help you stay motivated and invite other people into this community because you were at one time lonely and didn't have a community, and now you want other people to experience this inclusive community. Whether your reason for becoming a coach was you were uncomfortable in your own skin, you were insecure, you know what it feels like to feel like you don't want to be in pictures, or you want to avoid pool parties, or whatever it is, and you want to help someone else get out of that. Remember that when you don't feel like doing your power hour. Remember why you started, and then sit down and do it. And then the second thing is you need a strong and defined mission. Because if you don't like have any goals for this business, or you don't know who you're trying to talk to, you're going to kind of be all over the place. So in addition to remembering why you started, remember where you're going with this business. Remember what your goals are with this business. Remember what your mission is, because I truly believe that each of us was called on this mission to be Beachbody coaches. And so we are doing a disservice to our purpose and to our calling if we don't sit down and do this power hour, because if we're not doing our power hour, we're not reaching people, right? Like we're like withholding from them this gift of this community, this gift of these programs that actually work, the gift of these nutrition plans that are freeing, where you're not hungry all the time, where you feel energized. We're withholding all of that if we don't find the motivation, or if we skip our power hour because we don't feel motivated. So now that we've kind of gone through the motivation about our power hour, I kind of want to go into what I actually do in my power hour. Not only am I going to share what I do, but I'll share tips and tricks and even some scripts that I use throughout my power hour. And I'll post these scripts later. I will also post the to-do list. One of the things that I do that I also think it's really important is before you even start your power hour, eliminate distractions. Because I am someone who's a multitasker. I'm always doing multiple things at once. Whether I'm watching TV, I'm on my phone. If I'm in a lecture, I keep scribbling notes, but then I'm also like writing a to-do list for later. Even in my quiet time, I have to have paper nearby that's specifically just for things that come to mind when I'm like trying to like do my devotional. And I just write it down, and then I have to focus again. So I have to make sure to eliminate all distractions when I'm sitting down for my power hour. So what this looks like for me is I put my phone on silent and I put it across the room. Because without even thinking about it, I will pick it up and start looking at it, and time will be lost. I will go into the vortex of Instagram notifications, of responding to texts right away. I will lose my train of thought in the message I was sending. There have been times where I didn't even send a message. Like I wrote it up and then forgot to actually even push send because I just got distracted. So I put my phone on silent, put it across the room. I turn my computer on silent as well, so that I don't hear notifications come up. And then for me, I listen to Pandora music while I'm working. I listen to classical music, which like no words, nothing. It just helps me focus. It's like something else in the background. And then I get to work. And also something I do is I sit down and I take a couple deep breaths before I get started. Because our mindset is so important when we approach our power hour. Because our mindset changes everything, right? If we're excited, if we are confident about what we're talking about, our messages and our posts are going to sound a lot different than if we're just kind of half doing it, or we're just doing this out of obligation, or we're just posting because we're supposed to post, or if we're just like sending messages to random people and not even thinking about it because we just want to hit this quota. That's going to be, our responses and our conversations are going to look a lot different than if we sit down and we are excited. We remember why we're doing this. We remember that purpose, that mission that we're on. We remember the gift that we have to offer people by inviting them into this community and into our groups. Get excited about it again. You know, like remember all of the great things that you love about this opportunity before you even sit down and start reaching out to people, and then approach them with that mindset. Another thing that's been really helpful for me, I used to be really afraid of objections. And I think that some of us can also relate to that. I would be afraid of people who said no to me. I didn't want to have to like be pushy or salesy back. I felt like if they said no, I would take it very personally, you know, like that they were saying no to me, you know, like as a person or whatever. I felt like, I don't know, or that it would just be hard. Like I didn't want to have to like overcome the obstacle. And then what I realized is that those people who are actually asking questions or who have concerns or objections and who are actually sharing them with you, one, it's like a huge victory that they even responded, right? Like how many times we send out messages and people don't even respond? So one, they cared enough to respond, so that's a victory. And then number two, we all had concerns before we started this. So that's like, we should just expect them. We didn't like just blindly jump off this cliff and into this and figure it out later. We had questions too. So rather than thinking about these objections and taking them personally or being afraid of them, remember that these are the type of people we want on our team. We want people who are thinkers, who ask questions, who are interested, who, I don't know, like even if they just are open enough to share with you their concerns, then take it as an opportunity to explain why their concern is misplaced. Whether they feel like it's too expensive, whether they feel like they don't have time, whether they feel like they already have a gym membership, or they're not interested in Shakeology, or they don't like the idea of working out at home. Whatever it is, just be ready and respond to them. And another thing, in one of the books that Kim and I read together, it talks about, in GoPro, which is another personal development book I highly recommend. It talks about how, you know, we should be thankful because we're only going to have a certain number of objections ever in this business. It's not like new ones are going to be created. So don't get overwhelmed by the idea of objections. Just know we're only going to have a certain number. It's going to be time. It's going to be price. It's going to be home workout. You know, it's going to be Shakeology. So just like think about those things. And also, if you're not aware, in the file section of our Your Best You team page, we have two different documents. One's called Objections. I think the other one's Objections too. And I literally copy and pasted responses from conversations that I had to specific objections where those people who were opposed in the beginning ended up buying a challenge pack or joining my team as a coach. And so I shared those with you. So go in and read them, use them, make them sound like you, definitely, you know, and then like use them as a base, as an example. If you have something that's even better, please share those with us as well, because we're not like experts, right? We're just learning as we go along. So as you're sitting down to that power hour, just get in the right mindset of you have something great to offer to people. Don't worry that you don't have all the answers. Don't be worried about objections. Don't be worried about what people are going to say. Just follow like your goal that you set for yourself and go for it. And then once you've done all that, once you set the expectations with your family, once you've like committed to yourself, like where you're going to do your power hour, when you're going to do it, then once you've eliminated those distractions, once you've got your mind right, now you're ready to actually sit down and actually do your power hour. So what does it actually look like? So for me, another personal development book, I know that Janessa's reading it right now, is Eat That Frog. And it talks about whatever, like the hardest thing for you to do is do it first. For me, the hardest thing is the continuing conversations and starting new ones. I know it seems kind of silly, but like I'm actually an introvert, and part of my job is I'm communicating with people all day. And sometimes when I get home, I literally just don't want to talk to anyone else. I'm all talked out. So I don't want to talk to more people. I don't want to respond to messages. So that's the hardest thing for me. And so I do it first. I get it out of the way. My favorite thing is commenting in our lunch group because I love seeing people's posts, people's victories. I love seeing their excitement. I love seeing their faces. I love that they're actually doing it. And so I save that for last because that's the easiest thing for me to do. So for you, make a list of everything that you need to get done in this power hour and then prioritize it. And then whatever is the hardest things, put them towards the top of the list. Because if you keep pushing, like for me, for a long time, I kept pushing inviting down on the list. And then once I got to the bottom, I just kept skipping it. Oh, I'll just invite more people tomorrow. Oh, I'll just respond to their message tomorrow. And that's not the best way to build your business. You're not going to be building a business. So do that. So for me, when I'm talking about having these conversations with people, I wanted to share a little bit about like, who do you reach out to? And then what do you say to them? So for me, there are a couple things. Kim and I have both shared before that one of the easiest things you can do to reach out to people is pay attention to whose birthday it is on Facebook. And then based on your relationship with them, send them either a message or write on their Facebook wall. And all you need to just say is like, happy birthday. I hope you feel so loved and celebrated today. Maybe ask them what they're up to. Maybe, whatever it is, ask them a quick question or just make that connection with them. Super easy way to do that. Another thing that actually Maggie shared with us is that you can go by the alphabet letters. Start with the A's. I know that Kim printed out all of her Facebook friends, and so she was doing this. Start with, just look at who the A's are in your Facebook friends list, and then start reaching out to those people. And then once you're done with the A's, go to the B's, go to the B's. Just continue going down the list. If you need to pay attention, if you need to have that structured list and figure out who to talk to, use your friends, use your contact list on your phone. You don't always have to just I know when you sit down and you think, I can't think of one more person to reach out to, you don't have to invent them in your mind. Use your resources. Go through your phone directory, your contact list. Go through your Facebook friends list. Another thing that you can do that I love to do is people who like your fitness posts. Now, we talk about a lot, and I'll talk about in a couple minutes about how we need to be posting on Facebook frequently, up to 3 to 5 times a day. I know for me it's more like 2 to 3, just because of my schedule and all that stuff. And again, I'll get to that in a minute. But one of those posts a day needs to be related to your health and fitness journey. So when people like that post, reach out to them. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It's just super simple. It's just hey, thank you so much for liking my posts about my fitness journey. I know it just took a second out of your day, but I really appreciate it when people support me on my journey. Are you on your own health journey? Now, this is even something that Kim and I are going through this art of recruiting training right now. And he even said almost the identical script, in one of his recruiting videos. It's not salesy. It's a direct conversation into health and fitness, which is awesome because you're not starting a random conversation. It's an immediate connection to the health and fitness. And it's not a pushy conversation. And it can go really 1 or 2 ways. Well, 3, I guess. 1, they could just not respond. But since they liked your post and then you're just reaching out to them about it, they will likely respond with 1 of 2 ways. They might say, yes, I am on my own health journey, and talk about it, talk whatever. Your response to them can just be that's so awesome. Have you ever thought of paying it forward? And again, this is something that we were even listening to in our art of recruiting training, where, when people go through something, they always want to pay it forward. They want to help other people overcome what they did. And so that's going to open the conversation to coaching. And if they say, no, they're not on our journey, that's going to open up the conversation to your next challenge group. So just reach out to those people who are liking your posts. The second is when you're posting about the coach opportunity, which I know for me, next week I'll be posting about our coach happy hour sneak peek that's happening the following Monday. So when people like that post, people are really weird. A lot of times they're not going to comment, but they might like it. Reach out to them. And then you can just say something like, hey, thank you so much for liking my post. Have you ever wondered about what I do as a health and fitness coach? And they'll say yeah, or no, or whatever they say, but just it's an easy way to connect with more people. And those can count as your conversations that you're starting each day. Another thing that right after I start those new conversations is I make sure I go through and I respond to all of my messages. And what I do is I try not to really look at Facebook Messenger throughout the day. I'm at work. It's really not the best time for me to read it or respond, but sometimes I'll read it and then I don't have time to respond. And so then I might forget to respond later. It becomes a snowball effect of being overwhelmed and stressed. So I leave it till the end of the day. And then I just start down the list. I start with the person who sent me the message the earliest in the day, and I just go down until I get to the person who sent me the last message in the day, if that makes sense. And I respond to all of them. So then once I'm done with my messages, another thing is when I'm doing my message time, I'm not doing anything else. I'm not clicking on the notifications as they come up, even though I'm so excited about wanting to know how many people are interested in the awesome post I just posted. It's not the time to be looking at your Facebook notifications, so don't get distracted. Just focus on your messages. The next thing I do is I add more friends. And how do I do that? Where am I finding these people? Well, there's a couple suggestions I have for you. Number 1, Facebook is going to suggest friends for you. Look through them. Find some people. I've actually found a lot of people through that. And I think that's how I found Lauren. You know, like that's how like you're gonna find people that you just haven't connected with already. So just connect with them. Also, another thing that you can do is, I know for me, my high school had like a Burbank High 2007 graduating class Facebook group. I just went in there and I started friend requesting people. Then I started going to Borough High, which is our rival school, and seeing if I knew anyone from there and started friend requesting them. Another thing you can do, which I just started doing recently, as in this week, and it's been great, is go to some of your Facebook friends and go to their friends list and then click on mutual friends. Just yesterday, I friended several people who I had over 40 friends in common with because I had a mutual friend who I had not, they hadn't come up in my Facebook suggested friends list. So just go to other people who you know have a lot of friends, or who, yeah, just like connected with a lot of people throughout your lifetime. And then like see if you have mutual friends, or go to your college, whatever schools that you've been involved in, connect with those people. If you are married and you haven't friend requested like everyone your spouse is friends with, you're really missing out on a gold mine here. Go do that. Another thing that you can do is go to special interest groups. And I know that this is kind of like not a hot topic, but like it's a mixed reviews topic when we talk about finding special interest groups, because I feel like sometimes they can just feel like it's just a mirage. Like it's all these people who you have a mutual interest with, but like you're never gonna actually like sell anything to them because it's gonna take so long to like form these relationships and then like earn the right to post something. You can only post on certain days. Here's what I'm going to tell you to do. One, find these groups and just think about, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do? In one of the videos that Kim and I listened to today, he talked about if you were at the store and you saw someone had one thing or heard them talking about one thing, and you knew whatever that thing was, that like you guys have that in common, that you could start a connection or a relationship with them, easy conversation. Whether it's you heard them, they're like wearing a shirt that has a huge cat on it and you love cats. Whether it's they're holding a bottle of wine and you love wine. Whether they're talking about instruments and you play an instrument. Whether it's knitting, whether it's golf, frisbee golf. I mean, whatever you're into, flowers, coffee, whatever you like, I'm willing to bet that there is a Facebook group for that. Go find those Facebook groups, join them, spend a little time posting every once in a while, start paying attention to who else is posting in that group. Once you start liking or commenting on their posts, what you can do, I actually just heard on a video today, is comment on their post and just be like, hey, I'm always looking to connect with like-minded people. Send me a Facebook friend request so we can stay connected. And so what that does is it puts the burden of like the responsibility on them. Like they get to choose whether or not they're going to send you a Facebook friend request. So it doesn't feel salesy. It doesn't feel like you're just sending them a random request and then they click on your page and it's all Beachbody and they feel like, okay, like you're just trying to sell me something. Which again, we'll go back to in a couple minutes. We're going to get to posting and what you should be posting so that you don't come across like that. But anyway, just it's an easy way to just like, it's quick and it's easy, but just start forming connections with people. And then once they send you a Facebook friend request, you can kind of go from there, and how you treat other people like that you're just connecting with on Facebook. Okay, so those are just those were a couple of suggestions I had for finding more friends. Another thing that you need to do in your power hour, but not necessarily only in your power hour, but like spend some time thinking about your posts. So Kim and I talk about this a lot. We feel like it's so important for all of our posts to add value. There needs to be a so what factor to your post. It's not just about posting 5 times a day. Your post needs to matter. There needs to be a reason behind your post. They need to pass the so what test. So if someone looks at your post and they say like, they shouldn't have to say like, so what? You need to add value before you can ask for value. That's another thing Kim and I are learning in our training. So make sure that when you're posting, that you are paying attention. Like one, figure out who your target audience is. If you don't know yet, then sit down, take some time, figure out who you're talking to. And I know that our heart is to help everyone. We just want to help everyone. But the reality is we are better suited by our life experiences, by our personalities to help certain people. And we should really pour into those people. Though I would want to help like a man who's obese, who's 15 years older than me, of course I would want to help him on his journey. But I'm probably I'm much better suited to help someone who's probably between the ages of 22 to 55, you know, like I would love to help people who are busy, who are who are just busy, who love to go all in and commit 100% to things, who sometimes have a tendency to take on too much. Or, you know, like if you're a mom, reach out to those people. If Priscilla, a mom of twins, that's her audience. You know, like people, like whatever your struggle is, whatever your heart is, reach out to those people. And every time you post on Facebook, talk to those people, because that's who you're trying to reach. So when they're reading your post, they feel like you were talking directly to them. They don't skip over it because they feel like it's for someone else, right? So for my posts, sometimes I try to post things that make people laugh. Sometimes I try to post things that just make me seem more real. I post about coffee. I post about my family. I post about where I live. I post about different things that aren't just speech by me. One of your posts a day is going to be health and fitness related. Your other 3 to 4 posts a day need to be about other things. Another one can be about a motivational quote or post. Kim every morning does something motivational first thing, and it's a picture of her. You can either post a picture of you in a motivational thought. You can post a picture or like a graphic with a quote, and then like just post that, share that. Easy. Those are 2 of your posts a day. Then your 3rd and 4th post, it can just be lifestyle posts. What are you guys doing? Are you on the couch drinking coffee? Take a picture. Are you watching the sunset? It's beautiful today. Take a picture. Whatever you're doing. I know we feel like, oh, I have nothing to post. My life is boring. It's not really about like having the most interesting life. It's about letting people into our journey and into our life, because we want people to feel like we're inviting them into our journey, and our fitness is part of it, rather than just we're perfect, we're Beachbody coaches, we have it all together. Because I know for me, I would never reach out to like Elaine Johnson for help, right? Like she's too out of reach, she's just perfect, she's whatever. But I know I want to be real, I want to be approachable to people, and I want people in my feed who are my friends who, if they ever are ready to start their journey, or if they're ever ready to start thinking about health and fitness, I want them to know me. And the only way they're going to do that is if I'm in their news feed. Another thing that I heard in our training is that you need to be, I'm like lost my notes, but it's something about like being like arrogant and like a rock star, but humble like a homeless person. Like I think that we get scared about posting because we don't want to seem self-absorbed, or we don't want to seem like arrogant. And I can tell you that we just have to get over the fear of what other people are thinking. I mean, just this like recently, I had someone in my immediate family like make fun of the way that I pose in my pictures. I had someone, the same person, tell me that they feel like I'm just like really self-absorbed now because all I do is share about me and my life. And anyone who like knows me like in this journey like knows that like that's not true. My posing is take it or leave it, you know. But the reality is that like people are gonna have different opinions, but I'm not talking to those people. I'm not talking to the people who are being critical about how I'm standing in a picture, or being critical about how often I'm posting on Facebook. I am posting to the people who I can help, the people who are lost, the people who need help, who want to join this community, who need money, like who need another option, who need like to get out of the eating disorder cycle. Like I'm speaking to those people. I'm not worried about people thinking I'm self-absorbed, because I know my reality. Like I know my mission. I know my purpose. I know who I'm talking to and why I'm doing it. Which goes back to what I was talking to in the beginning. When you're lacking your motivation, remember to reconnect with your why and to your purpose, and be committed to mission. Now, just going through my couple of points. So, okay, yes, you're going to need to answer your messages, start new conversations. Another thing that you need to do every week is listen to the national wake-up call. That should be a non-negotiable. It doesn't have to be in real time. I never listen to it in real time. 8 a.m. on Monday just doesn't work for me. I'm at work already. So, but I always listen to it in the car. Listen to the recording. It's like they're the top. I mean, it's the top coaches in the company sharing with us their tips and tricks, or it's the trainers talking to us about what's great about their program. It's something that like no one should be missing because it's gold. Like if you're really committed to growing your business, it's the national wake-up call. It's something that's going to really like kind of fuel your fire and give you good like tips and tricks. Another thing that you're going to want to do every day is check your coach online office. If you don't know how to do that, talk to your upline coach. But that should be like something you do every day in your power hour. And then lastly, you're going to want to be a product of the product. So this all goes back to the 4 vital behaviors. You're going to want to invite, which is what I talked about in the beginning about you're going to be adding new friends, you're going to be starting conversations with them, and then be including, like following up on conversations. You're going to need to be proof that the product works. Your workout isn't going to be really part of your power hour, but it needs to be part of your every single day because you need to be proof that these products work that add credibility to all of your other posts. Another thing is the personal development every single day, 10 minutes. I think I've referenced 3 or 4 personal development things on this call alone. It's life-changing for your business. If you need some help knowing where to start, talk to me or Kim. We're so passionate about personal development. And then 4th is the recognition. You can do this a couple different ways. Recognize your challengers. Recognize your friends for their accomplishments. Recognize your coaches. Just be like constantly recognizing people and acknowledging people. And then I'm going to wrap up with this point. And then open it up to any questions because we're really being mindful of our time. But something that you're going to hear conflicted views on, but that Kim and I agree on, is scrolling through your Facebook newsfeed. Now, this is another way that you can find more friends to reach out to, but it's also like dangerous because you can really just waste a lot of your time if you aren't really disciplined in the scrolling. You're scrolling with a purpose. So if you need to set a timer on your phone, do so. If you need to save it till the last thing that you do because you know you're probably going to get distracted, do that. But just scroll through your newsfeed a little bit. 1, acknowledge people. Acknowledge that you've seen their posts. People post things on Facebook because they want you to see it. So like let them know that you saw it. Compliment them on their outfit if it's cute. Compliment them on graduating if that's what they're posting about. Let them know that their baby is so cute if that's what they're posting about. Whatever it is, make it genuine, but whatever you recognize or notice about the picture, reach out and share that with them. And not only is it going to make your Facebook affinity higher in terms of they're going to start seeing your stuff in their newsfeed, but you're just starting a connection with them where they just know that you care about them too, that you are someone who builds people up, and that's the type of coach you are. That's what they're going to get in their health and fitness journey as well. And then also write down names. Write down people's names as you start to scroll through your newsfeed and you feel like this would be a good challenger, this would be a good coach. Write them down and then be intentional about following up with those people, reaching out to them later, liking their pictures, and all that. So I know I went through like a lot of information, but I just wanted to help give you guys a little more insight into what I do to make my power hour effective. What I do to stay focused, to make it efficient, and to get everyone on board, like with the fact that this is my business time, that I'm building my business. And I do want to open it up to any questions. If you guys have questions about power hours or about, I don't know, personal development, or if there's something you guys are struggling with, let us know. Do you guys have any questions? No? I just did such a good job.
You win.
What do you guys have? Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Kim. Thank you. Well, I mean, if you guys have questions about anything else, please let us know. I know Kim and I will finalize the details of the Go for Gold group this week. I know I have a couple things to talk to her about, and then we'll be reaching out to you guys no later than Thursday about how that's all going to go down. Remember that our Country Heat Challenge group also kicks off on the same day. And then our Coach Sneak Peek, our happy hour, is going to be on the 29th. And so for those of you guys who haven't participated in that before, what that looks like is we have a Facebook group. Kim already created it because she's on top of everything. And what we do is it's 2 hours. So the first hour from 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we just post about common myths, common misconceptions, common questions that people have about coaching. And it's just posting every, I think 7 minutes or 6 minutes or something. So during that time, people just we invite them to log into the event, onto the event page in Facebook, and just see the post. There's questions for them, there's things for them to respond to. We're all online, so we're answering their questions as they come in. And then the second hour is the actual call portion where we just go over a presentation, we introduce ourselves, and we explain what coaching is. So be thinking about people that you want to invite to that, because we're 2 weeks out from that. So it's a great time to start thinking about what you're going to be posting, about coaching, about, over the next like week and a half, 2 weeks until we actually start. And is there anything?
I was just going to add, I don't know, did you talk about the health bet or the 3-week yoga?
No, I did not.
No. So I was just going to add, August kind of feels like everything's like bumbling over and there's like tons of stuff to promote. But I think I posted in our team page today. But posting about the health bet and asking people if they're interested is like a huge, I think I have like 33 comments right now, which I don't think I've had 33 comments in a really long time. And all these people are in. And I flat out say in my post, it means you have to drink Shakeology and do a workout. So to me, that's like challenge pack. And the cool thing is no matter, as long as you post those 5 Shakeos and those 3 check-ins, you're getting money for the month of September. If you did that every day, not even every day, only 5 days a week, you're getting part of the big chunk of money. And the more challenge packs we sell, the more money they're putting into this health bet. It isn't eligible for coaches. That is the one, correct, Britt?
What did you say? It's not for coaches?
It's not eligible for coaches.
No.
So, that is part of it, but at the same time, that's a huge win. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing right now is if you post about Country Heat and you get up and dance with somebody and you hashtag challenge and something else, you have an opportunity to win $1,000 a day, and you only have to do it one time for the month of August. So that's another huge win for you. And then the 3-week yoga sneak peek is this Thursday, or is it next? I think it's next Thursday. So that's another thing. So there's like tons of stuff right now, and I think that it's important that you, in some way, keep it minimal in your feed, but at the same time, like, it's hitting different people at all different areas of their health fitness journey, and so that's really great, useful stuff for us to use. And then another thing I think I wanted to add to your happy hour is something that I didn't do initially, and I feel like it's a hard thing to go back to try to do, is to really write down people who were once upon a time interested. Because that list that's probably your that's like your list. Like, you can use that for everything and anything. And every month when you're advertising for your next challenge group, you're going back and you're inviting those people. And I can tell you right out of the gate, like, that's how each month, you're hitting Success Club 10, because you have 5 people who are like, yep, I've been, I knew I was, because they had that like warning, like, hey, hit me up next month. And so then they're prepared and they want you there. So just, I keep this little, it's just like a little guy, and in it's just like I have like all my coaches that are ever interested. And then I just write down somewhere, like, literally, it's just like lists and pages and pages of people. And then as they become challengers, I just cross them off, knowing that they're now within my other system. So that was the only thing I would add to your power hour, is that you really do keep a list of ongoing people. And I think that's all.
8:44, you guys. Like, we're like nailing it. So this week, I also didn't explain that this week, I took the lead, and then next week, Kim's taking the lead. I might not be able to participate next week. I'm going to try to call in if possible, but I'll be working like 15-hour days at the convention center for this event. So I'm not sure what my life's going to look like, because I've never been at this event before. So I'm going to try to call in, but I might not be here. So Kim's going to take the lead next week.
And I don't know what we're going to talk about. Do you want to talk about anything?
Surprise! It's a surprise, everyone.
Is there anything specific that any of you would want to talk about? You can think about it. How about that? Take a minute
Yeah.
and think about it. We may talk about Instagress next week.
Oh, yeah.
Let me break into
You
some
use that?
Instagram training.
Yeah.
I'm about to get crazy. So, anyway.
Okay. Well, I'm going to hop off, but I can't wait for the